The process of crafting a detailed empirical literature review is both an art and a science, requiring meticulous attention to detail, an understanding of the existing body of research, and a clear articulation of how this body of work informs your own. This narrative will guide you through the 12 distinct sections essential for writing an effective empirical literature review, ensuring that you engage thoroughly with your sources and present a coherent analysis that advances your research objectives. The introduction serves as a critical entry point for your empirical literature review. It is essential to orient the reader to the purpose and scope of the review, clearly defining what empirical literature entails. Empirical literature consists of studies that rely on observed and measured phenomena, as opposed to theoretical or speculative work. By reviewing empirical studies, researchers can ground their work in established evidence, ensuring that their conclusions are supported by data. This review is necessary not only to provide a comprehensive understanding of the current state of research in your area of interest, but also to justify the relevance of your study. It highlights how your research builds on existing knowledge, fills gaps, and contributes to the ongoing academic conversation. Establishing the purpose and objectives of the review is the next crucial step. In this section, you should outline the specific goals of your review and how they align with your broader research objectives. This connection is vital for demonstrating the relevance of your literature review to your research questions. For instance, if your research aims to explore the effects of a particular intervention on a specific population, your literature review should aim to identify gaps in the existing research, highlight areas where empirical evidence is lacking, and provide a foundation for your hypotheses. By clearly articulating these objectives, you set the stage for a focused and relevant review that serves as a precursor to your own research. Once the purpose is established, it is essential to define your inclusion and exclusion criteria for selecting empirical studies. This process ensures transparency and replicability in your review. You should detail the criteria based on various factors, including the time frame of the studies, the types of research, e.g., experimental, observational, the populations studied, and the languages in which the studies were published. For instance, if your review focuses on studies published in the last 10 years, you would exclude older literature to maintain relevance. Similarly, if your research is centered on a specific demographic, such as adolescents, you would exclude studies that do not focus on this group. By clearly defining these criteria, you not only enhance the credibility of your review, but also streamline the selection process. Developing a search strategy and identifying sources is a critical next step in the literature review process. This section should detail the methods you employed to collect empirical literature, including the databases you accessed, the keywords you used, and any other relevant search techniques. Common databases include PubMed, PsycInfo, Scopus, and Web of Science, among others. The keywords should be carefully chosen to capture the essence of your research topic, allowing for a comprehensive engagement with the literature. For example, if your research focuses on the impact of mindfulness on anxiety in adolescents, your keywords might include mindfulness, anxiety, adolescence, and intervention. Documenting your search strategy not only provides a roadmap for your review, but also allows others to replicate your process. Once you have gathered a substantial body of empirical literature, it is time to provide an overview of the key studies. This section should include an annotated summary of significant studies, covering their methodologies, sample populations, and key findings. By presenting this information, you establish the research context and allow readers to understand the landscape of existing research. For instance, you might summarize a study that employed a randomized controlled trial design with a sample of 200 adolescents, highlighting its findings related to the effectiveness of mindfulness interventions in reducing anxiety levels. This overview serves as a foundation for the subsequent sections of your review. Thematic categorization of studies is an effective way to organize your findings into recurring themes. In this section, you should identify and highlight key themes that emerge from the literature. For example, If several studies discuss the role of mindfulness in improving emotional regulation, you might categorize these findings under a theme titled Mindfulness and Emotional Regulation. This thematic approach not only lends structure to your review, but also allows you to synthesize findings in a meaningful way, making it easier for readers to grasp the overarching trends in the literature. As you delve deeper into the studies, it is essential to critically assess the methodological approaches and trends employed in the research. This section should provide an analysis of the research designs and methods used in the studies, noting whether they are qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods. For example, you might find that many studies utilize quantitative measures, such as standardized anxiety scales, while others employ qualitative interviews to explore participants' experiences. By assessing these methodological approaches, you can highlight the strengths and weaknesses of different designs and their implications for the findings. Following the assessment of methodologies, a summary of sample populations and contexts is necessary. In this section, you should describe the demographics and contexts of the studies, including the countries or regions involved and the characteristics of the sample populations. This information is crucial for understanding the generalizability of the findings. For example, if most studies were conducted in Western countries with predominantly white populations, you might note that the findings may not be applicable to other cultural contexts. This consideration adds depth to your review and emphasizes the importance of diverse research settings. Cross-study comparison of empirical findings is a pivotal section that allows for a synthesis of the literature. Here, you should discuss consensus points, conflicting results, and any surprising discoveries that emerge from the studies. For instance, while some studies may find significant reductions in anxiety through mindfulness interventions, others may report no effect. By synthesizing these findings, you provide a nuanced understanding of the empirical landscape, illustrating the complexity of the research and the need for further investigation. An evaluation of methodological strengths and limitations is an essential aspect of your literature review. In this section, you should critique the study's strengths and weaknesses by analyzing sample sizes, research designs, and the validity of findings. For example, you might note that a study with a large sample size lends greater weight to its findings, while a study with a small sample may be limited in its generalizability. Additionally, consider the implications of potential biases, such as self-reporting or selection bias, on the validity of the results. This critical evaluation not only demonstrates your analytical skills, but also enhances the credibility of your review. Identifying research gaps is a key component of your literature review, as it highlights areas that warrant further exploration. In this section, you should pinpoint understudied areas or methodological shortcomings in the existing literature. For instance, if you find that few studies have examined the long-term effects of mindfulness interventions, this gap can inform your research questions and justify the focus of your study. By identifying these gaps, you contribute to the advancement of knowledge in your field and underscore the significance of your research. Finally, the implications and conclusions section serves to summarize your empirical insights and discuss how they inform your study. Here, you should highlight the identified gaps and justify your research approach based on the findings of your review. This conclusion reinforces the relevance of your work and positions it within the broader academic discourse. By articulating how your research addresses the gaps in the literature, you not only strengthen your argument but also pave the way for future research in the field. In summary, crafting a detailed empirical literature review involves a systematic approach that encompasses various essential components. By following the outlined sections, introduction, purpose and objectives, inclusion and exclusion criteria, search strategy, overview of key studies, thematic categorization, methodological approaches, sample populations, cross-study comparison, evaluation of strengths and limitations, identification of research gaps, and implications, you can create a comprehensive and engaging narrative that serves as a foundation for your own research. Each section builds upon the previous one, creating a coherent flow that guides the reader through the complexities of the empirical landscape. Through this careful synthesis of existing literature, you not only enhance your understanding of the field, but also contribute valuable insights that inform future research endeavors.